5555 Jacksonville. Let's go into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
You know, they say that 22.6 million people called in sick yesterday after the Super Bowl. Brother, I was one of them. Well, let me tell you something. I was not fighting a hangover. I was laid up. No idea what was going on. They tell me it's going around. I hope you don't catch it. Because it was just awful coming out both top and bottom, if you understand what I'm trying to get at. But just vicious. And, you know, we're all getting older, right? But I pride myself on never missing a day because I'm sick. And I don't know what it is. I think it may be post-jab that my immune system sucks. It just does, man. I can't fight off normal situations the way that I used to. I mean, I've been booze sick, 2,500 times. That's different. Drinking too much, fighting your way through it. I still am, in need of the perfect remedy for a hangover. Pickle juice or what's it called? That you buy over the counter now. Pedialytes. Yeah, I mean, those are wonderful. I'm going to take a whole bunch of those with me as I visit one of these bizarre islands next week on a vacation. But I just can't fight it the way that I used to. And I was just kind of wondering, because we're so honest with one another on Into the Night with the listeners. Are you finding that this is a similar problem from you? Is this a link to COVID? Is this, hey, you shouldn't have taken the jab? And I know when you mention the jab, there's certain people out there that wish that you would die, right? Because it was a political situation and what have you. I've never seen so much filth when you talk about that. I mean, the political side got into it, that people were actually wishing that other people were no longer with us. Can you imagine that? We're that small? But I'm just wondering aloud, are there some of you out there that have noticed it lately as well? That just trying to battle through whatever it may be is not nearly as easy as it once was. And, you talk about puking. You talk about it coming out the other way. You talk about it messing up the mind, the psyche, going through the same things. It's almost like a rat in a cage. Your thought process, taking you back to this and taking you back to that. When I get sick, my mind gets sick. And, man, it was rough. It was. And I know some other people have been slowed by it as well. So I hope you don't get it. But I am interested. Am I the only one out here who has – I consider myself a relatively healthy person. I don't miss work because of sickness. I'll take a day off non-football season to play golf or do whatever, and I'll take my vacation time non-football season. And I'm just wondering, is it because of, something that you took, whether it was the jab or anything else? But I don't know the answer to that question. And every doctor I visit, they don't know. That's the great thing about it, is no one knows, right? They take you, it's almost like a racket. They take you and they, well, thanks, doc. Well, we're going to send you to this specialist. Thanks, specialist. We're going to send you to this specialist. Oh, thank you. Just keep running me around. Go from doctor to doctor to doctor to doctor. But, I mean, nauseous, stomach cramps, diarrhea, the whole 9 yards. Absolutely brutal. So, again, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Then again, I don't have any enemies. as far as I am concerned. The good news is, at least for me, I'm back and I'm ready to roll tonight, the rest of the week, and we'll keep things going here on your home of the Jaguars, both here on the AM 1010 and as well, certainly 92.5 on the FM. Looking forward to the program tonight, including in 20 minutes, Destin Adams is going to join us. He was at the Senior Bowl. There's a lot out there on the Jaguars, and we haven't really spent much time so far really going deep into the draft as far as, what really makes sense for Jacksonville and who has improved, who has done the exact opposite throughout the very important month of January. And then into February, we find ourselves, less than 3 weeks away from the Combine. That'll be followed up by pro days and just the way that things do turn. A big talk about, possibly a trade. I know it was thrown out there, but it's still an interesting situation for the Jaguars, and it's just good to have Jacksonville at least relevant, right? I remember years and years of covering this team where you could barely get a thumbnail on the Jaguars. You could barely get a footnote on the Jaguars. The fact that they're out there as moving from 5 to 11 to get Deebo Samuel, and I say that, you may be in favor of it. You may flat out hate it. But my point is this. At least there's a conversation. Jacksonville used to be neglected. They used to be the Mississippi States of the Southeastern Conference. I'm not talking about tonight's hoop game between them and Florida. I'm talking about when you line up and you go to Hoover, Alabama, or Atlanta, or wherever the SEC meetings were, and you get to Mississippi State, you can just see the frowns and everyone like, oh, my God, we really have to sit back here now and talk about Mississippi State and cover Mississippi State. It's like the unfortunate part of the gig. That's how a lot of NFL people have treated Jacksonville over the years, and that's no longer the case. So we'll get to that coming up in a little bit. A lot of importance going on now over at the Miller Electric Center, at least for the time being. Our understanding is that the general manager candidates, it's going to be virtual meetings, right? And then there will be some callbacks. I would expect at least 3 this week, and I don't see why they can't do many more than 3 because they're going to be virtual interviews that who knows. We've only seen that 3 have been reported. They may end up getting 6, 7, or 8 done this week, and then a couple more early next week, and then start to bring folks back for in-house interviews over at the Miller Electric Center. But it's really interesting. The first candidate to interview is Josh Williams. Who's Josh Williams? Well, he's the director of scouting and football operations for the San Francisco 49ers. You know who hired him? Trent Baalke. You know who else he worked alongside? Ethan Waugh. So on the surface, does that eliminate him? Does that hurt his ability to get this job? I'm not going to say either or. Certainly, I'm not really familiar. Here's the difference. When you bring in these candidates and you start to look at their resume and then you start to ask around a little bit, it really is an all-listen set of circumstances. It's totally different than what we just went through when it was the head coach process, the offensive, defensive coordinator process. You may not know as much about them this time around because they were all first-timers for the Jaguars. You weren't, regurgitating former coordinators and head coaches. Again, the Jaguar staff was announced last week. This thing is so new, right? I mean, the message is crystal clear with this organization. It's not going to be built to win this year. I mean, you could still have a winning record, but you're not going to win the Super Bowl this year. It's not built that way. This is built for years and years and years down the road. You didn't even add on your staff, a former head coach, which I'm a little bit surprised about. The 2 biggest surprises that I had was the offensive line coach, and again, not bringing in someone with a little bit more experience. This feels like it's a really young coaching staff, maybe the youngest in the NFL. But again, I think the message is absolutely there. It's about building this thing block by block and trying to put themselves in a position where they can consistently be a winning organization and then start to get deeper and deeper into the playoffs. Mark Lamping, it was announced today as well, the president of the Jaguars, an extension to his deal as well. That'll take Mark through the year 2030. Can you imagine what it's going to be like in 2030 with all the building that's going on downtown? I mean, I don't want to see it because I'm going to enjoy February 11th, 2025. But come February 11th, 2030, and I've seen the diagrams, I've seen whatever it is. I've never been a big fan of really kind of looking ahead at stuff like that. I have people send me stuff about Doak Campbell Stadium and everything that, you know, they've done to try to give that stadium a facelift. I think it looks like ass. I mean, a college football stadium is supposed to be a cathedral. It's supposed to be a party ground. It's supposed to be a place where you rely on the students and the devoted alumni to get up on their feet and make some noise. This thing looks wine and cheese. This is like going to a North Carolina basketball game. I mean, I'm like, really? Is this what my alma mater is doing now? They win 2 games a year, and this is what they're dropping on us? I mean, it's going to cost so much money for people to go to a Florida State game, yet they put out an awful product. This doesn't make any sense. Same thing when it comes here, and I've seen the diagrams and everything's kind of put together, you know, the hardworking architecture, but I'm like, nah, I'm not really for me. Yeah, I'll give it a little brief look, but I kind of tend to move on. It's just, I've never been big on that. Not saying that you shouldn't be. I'm just giving you the honesty here. For once, I'm telling the truth. And so, no, the answer to my own question. This is what we know at this point. Josh Williams interviews today. There could be others, but this is what we know. Again, director of scouting and football operations with San Francisco. Ian Cunningham expected to interview on Friday. He is the Bears' assistant general manager, has just a marvelous resume, though. He's been around a lot of winning organizations, and they think very highly of Ian Cunningham. Some believe he is the leader in the clubhouse. If he interviews the way that he is supposed to interview, he should get this job. Take this into consideration. Coaches don't interview well. Remember we heard that Ben Johnson a year ago didn't interview well? Well, if coaches don't interview well and they're still a great coach, they're going to get a job, right? They should get the job because they are the most qualified guy. They are the best man for the job. But you can't expect coaches, all of them, to interview, you know, as an A+. You expect that with front office executives. This is a big part of their gig, right? You better know how to talk to the important people when that is one of your major tasks. Now, we know that the most important thing is to recognize talent, whether it be coming out of college or free agency or re-signing your own players. That's far and away the most important thing. But when you wear the suit and tie, you damn well better know how to interview. That's not always the case and hasn't always been the case for decades when it comes to coaches. That's also not the case and hasn't always been the case when you interview football players. I happen to be one to think there's a little bit too much made into interviewing players unless they are dumb as a rock, okay? If they don't interview well, it doesn't mean the guy can't go out there and play some football. Doesn't mean the guy can't go out there and sick the ball carrier. Or the guy can't go out there and pass and run block unlike anyone else. Understand where I'm getting at with this? Not with the front office executive. So, some people do believe that if Ian Cunningham interviews the way that he is supposed to, he's the leader to get this gig. Not saying that it's going to happen. Don't put it in concrete. But just take notice that that is what many believe as we head towards this, where maybe as many as 9 or 10 will interview. The only other name that has been spilled so far this week is Terrence Gray. And he was a finalist for the Titans job, which was announced a couple of weeks ago. He has been with the Bills, director of player personnel, also spent a very long period of time in Minnesota as a scout. Terrence Gray has been in the NFL for a very long period of time. So those are the three that we know of at this point. Certainly, we'll go through the list, time permitting, a little bit later on in the program. Who else could possibly be up for this job? And it's just, it's so fascinating to me, the way that this whole process is being handled, right? They're doing it backwards. Doesn't mean it won't work, but they're still doing it backwards. This is like setting up a wedding, setting up the pre-party, the dinner party the night before, setting up the rehearsal, having everything there. There's just one problem. You need a freaking bride, right? That's the GM. The Jaguars are doing this backwards. I'm going to come back from this first break and talk about a proposed deal that came out today that involved the Jaguars for Deebo Samuel. It's what you do in early February. It's what you do when there's some relevance again with the program. But here's what's crazy about it. We're going to throw this out, and I know the listeners are going to respond, and you're going to say, no way, or you're going to say, well, maybe, or you're going to say, absolutely, get it done. We're 71 days away from the draft. We have no idea who's going to make that pick. So here we are going to have a conversation. Who says yes or no to the trade? Shad Khan? Tony Khan? Tony Baselli? Ethan Waugh? Liam Cohen? We don't know. We don't have a clue. So it is just freaking fantastic to see what's going on right now. It's like, hey, we'll do it our way, right? And you just sit back and watch. And then you can criticize or you can support as we move forward. But, man, I mean, I just look at this and I'm like, get it done, will you? Announce who's going to be calling the shots around here. And then the more you think about it and you make a statement like that, all of a sudden it's, is he really going to be calling the shots? Okay. Is Baselli going to be more involved than I thought he was going to be? Is Liam Cohen going to be way more involved in personnel than I thought he was going to be? The general manager should be all about getting the talent. Your head coach should be all about coaching that talent, teaching that talent, adding the coaches to your stable. But again, everything changes in life. And that includes the 2025 Jaguars. They're like, we've done it for 30 years and it hasn't worked out. Watch this. We're going to start from the bottom, I guess, and work our way up. And I don't want to say that Liam Cohen is starting at the bottom, but I think you understand what I mean. I am in full support of Cohen as being a good coach for this football team. But still, it is pretty bizarre if you look at it under those set of circumstances. All right, want to celebrate the good folks over at Shmunez Vision. They're rolling into their 4th year. Okay, I've known Dr. Neo Shmunez forever when he was with a former company, and he has done phenomenal things for me in my eyes. But what they've done over at Shmunez right now is absolutely sensational. Okay, ask either one of the Dr. Shmunezes as well as Dr. Hunt today about what they can do as far as value when it comes to cataract surgery. You realize that at Shmunez Vision, they have saved their patients more than $1 million in cataract fees that they consider unnecessary. Now, hear me out for a second. there's all this advanced equipment, right? There's all of this latest, and it's much bigger, it's much better. That's not always the case. It's certainly not when it comes to your eyesight, when it comes as well to cataract surgery. So I want you to take hold of that and understand that they have that equipment, but it's not always something that they'll use on you because they understand just how expensive these things can end up being. They save you money because they do it the correct way. Make an appointment today. Just go to Shmunez Vision. Check them out online. You can also go to Instagram. You can get all of the testimonials there at Shmunez Vision as well. All right, let's come back. Let's kick it off. Let's get into the Deebo thing a little bit. Let's have some fun with this. I mean, it's been even though in my opinion they're doing it backwards, it has been a very exciting offseason. And here's the one thing I'll admit about the way that they have gone through this. It no longer feels like a 4-13 football team, does it? I don't see Jaguar fans making their way through Duval, hanging their head, being upset. No, there's renewed enthusiasm. There's a feeling of hope, and the conversation now should be unlimited about what is this team going to do. A barn burner today involved with Deebo Samuel. Let's come back. We'll dive into that. The best way to join us is our text line, 641-1010, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures.
This is Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
This is Leon Washington from Andrew Jackson High School, Florida State University, and the New York Jets.
You're listening to 1010XL.
1010XL.
92.5 FM.
When you're experiencing sudden, unexpected dental pain, the last thing you want to hear is that your dentist can't see you until next week. That's why I'm so glad I found Harbor Dental Care. Whenever I call, they always find a way to see me within 24 hours, and they can usually fix whatever's wrong the same day. Plus, they have locations throughout Jacksonville, so no matter what side of town I'm on, I can always count on the same great care. If you want to find a dentist who believes in treating people right, learn more at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Before the Great American Race on Sunday, the high banks of Daytona heat up with a Saturday night showdown in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Experience the intense competition up close on the sport's biggest stage to kick off the 2025 season. The NASCAR Xfinity Series at Daytona International Speedway, Saturday, February 15th. Tickets start at just $49, and kids 12 and under are free in general admission. Secure your seats now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Your new roof from Universal Roof and Contracting can help save a life. Percentage of every new roof this month will go to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. St. Jude's is leading the way. The world understands, treats, and defeats childhood cancer and other life-threatening diseases. Call 855-ROOF-HELP or visit universalroof.com to schedule your free roof inspection. This promotion ends February 28th. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Don't ignore plumbing leaks. They can lead to mold and mildew or structural damage and drain your wallet. So when you have a leak and can't wait a week, call Roland Reich Plumbing. PlumbingJacksonville.com.
1010XL celebrates African Americans who positively impacted the First Coast. I'm RJ Saunders, and I'll share Black History Month stories with you throughout February. Black History Month on 1010XL is brought to you by Instant Keys and McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, Cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857. Or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a beautiful walk-in closet that's already so incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. And take advantage of extended savings this month. Get 40% off and another 15% off with 18-month special financing.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here. Free for life. Just by saying that, you already know I'm referring to Awaken 180. They're the only company providing it. Fast, proven weight loss, and then keep it off thanks to free support for life. That's Awaken180weightloss.com.
New year, new club. This is Joe C., and I'm proud to be a member of Southampton. And with the popularity of golf, getting a tee time is tough. But with membership comes member privileges. Enjoy clubhouse dining, expanded practice area, focusing on all parts of your game. And right now, you can join with an annual commitment and get a $1,000 discount, plus $500 of Pro Shop credit. All the details are online at golfsouthampton.com or call 287-PLAY and make a tee time today at the Golf Club of Southampton.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. Now's the perfect time to order logo coffee mugs or maybe a logoed Stick brand tumbler. They're seriously ice cold and look great with your company logo. Hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all. 1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
The night time. Only good things happen at night, especially on Into the Night. You looked at the text line, Dylan?
Always during our show.
My goodness, man. There's a lot of people out there, and I'm not happy to see this, but there is a tremendous amount of complications since the jab. So I wish you all the best. I am an open book. I'm never going to skirt away from anything. The best part of it is I bet we got about 25 responses. No one wished me death, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I had a couple people call in and say they've been hospitalized from it too, so it's not just you.
So the one guy who's really angry with me, though, let me see this, 2377. He says, I've never heard someone hate and complain about their alma mater as much as Rick Ballou. Well, here's my response. My alma mater's decision makers suck, okay? They are awful. Terrible. Everything they do is bad. So when they change that and they get some people in there who care and don't use that place to get a better job, then perhaps I'll change my opinion. The new stadium is a joke. They never should have gotten rid of the old Champions Club upstairs with the tents. That was legendary. I love standing up during a game. I love being able to drink beer during a game and have a nearby lavatory during a game. Oh, no. Know your audience. That was a disaster. It's a disaster now. And while you're at it, feel free to win a few football games. All right, Trevor Sikkema, Pro Football Focus, projects the Jaguars to trade back. They'll go from 5 to 11. They'll acquire Deebo Samuel in the 11th pick overall. With that, they will also be able to add Will Johnson as a cornerback. So all of a sudden, you have a backfield with Will Johnson, Tyson Campbell, and Jarrian Jones. Sounds pretty good, right? You need 2 safeties, but whatever. You can work on that. You have money. You have the ability to draft. Deebo Samuel, though, so much of me is like, yes. Get it done with Deebo Samuel, right? Bring him in. You have a clear-cut number 2 wide receiver. You can cut Christian Kirk. You can play Parker Washington in the slot. You have Brian Thomas Jr., who I think is going to be sensational now under this Liam Cohen offense. What scares me a little bit is Deebo's 29. It feels to me like Deebo Samuel is a guy who's always injured. Now, I look at his games played. He missed 2 last year. He missed 2 the year prior. He missed 4 back in 2022. He's only had 1 year where he has received more than 1,000 yards. And I get it. San Francisco's had some issues with some quarterback play recently. Brock Purdy's been outstanding, and he is going to get paid. But we're talking about 51 balls, 670 yards, 13.1, 3 touchdowns. Okay, at times he'll run the football. He will also return some kicks. He can give you a lot of different things. He is what everyone around here hoped that Laviska Shenault was going to be, right? The Swiss Army knife. Never ended up being that way. Shenault was he had no twitch, right? He had no wiggle, and also had some hands issues. But what's it going to cost to get a deal done with Deebo Samuel? He's got 3 voidable years after 2025. He's got a cap figure this year of $16 million. It almost feels like to me that Deebo Samuel is something that Baltimore should do, something that Buffalo should do, something that Kansas City should do, something that a team with a proven quarterback, a team that is a perennial playoff club that year in, year out is going to be a part of it, that's the guy you add. This is an organization that has some talent, has some guys who can play, but we just talked about it at the top. They're in a rebuild. They're in a complete rebuild. There's not one positional group that you can look at right now and say, I feel really, really good about it. Dylan, what's the best positional group that this football team has?
Right now?
Yep. One position group.
I mean, jumps off the mind as running back.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? You're right. I would say running back too, or I would say edge.
Yeah, I'd say edge before running back.
You can't say Trevor. When you say Trevor, you got to cross your fingers. You hope. Okay, you want to believe, and please do. I'm not trying to take away your fantasy here. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I just mentioned Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen. I'm talking about the top 3 quarterbacks in the league, or among the top 3 quarterbacks in the league with teams who always go to the playoffs. You can't say that about this team. You don't overpay for a 29 to be 30-year-old wide receiver who's only had one 1,000-yard receiving season. You just don't. He's got a little bit of that diva in him as well. I mean, brand new offensive coordinator, brand new defensive coordinator, brand new head coach, brand new general manager, all first-time hires. This team is not going to be built to win a Super Bowl in February of 2026. It may happen by 2028, 2029, 2030, May. So even though this is intriguing, and even though I love the fact that it was thrown out there by a reputable member of the media who also does a really nice job covering the NFL draft, I got to respectfully say, no way. not going to do it. Now, what does happen here that is very intriguing is it fills two enormous gaps by only moving down 6 spots. Now, there's no guarantee that Will Johnson's going to be there at number 11, right? I've seen some mocks where he's higher. But if you were to get him at 11, because whenever I talk offense, and I'm offense, and I'm offense, and I'm offense, I'm right guard. As a matter of fact, Destin Adams is going to join us here coming up in 10 minutes. One of the major things I'm going to talk to him about is the offensive line. He was at the Senior Bowl in Mobile at the very end of January into the first couple of days of February. But whenever I talk about the draft, you tell me that you want a defensive tackle and you want a corner, right? Many of you are putting that ahead of anything that this football team does offensively, okay? I disagree with that. I'm going offense, offense, offense. If you were to make this type of trade, all of a sudden, your number 2 wide receiver is set and your number 2 corner is set. You just filled 2 gaping holes on your roster. Give us your thoughts on that. The best way to do it is the text line at 641-1010. And, you can also get us on YouTube tonight. Let me check here real quick. Getting quite a few things coming in on YouTube. If you can join us there, we'd love to hear from you. Also on Twitter, be very interested in what you do respond to on that. One other nugget that I wanted to mention that I haven't talked about the Super Bowl because I was sick yesterday. Well, really what got me, and this was fascinating, is just how dominant the Eagles defense was against Kansas City and against Patrick Mahomes. It reminded me of New York and the Giants and how they were able to win both of their Super Bowls, right? What did the Giants do? They rushed only 4. They dropped 7. And that ended up being the difference in those Super Bowl victories, even though David Tyree and Mario Manningham are always going to get most of the credit. Vic Fangio did not offer up one blitz during 42 Patrick Mahomes dropbacks on Sunday. Whenever we talk about Anthony Campanile, right, we wonder. He was part of a 4-3 last year in Green Bay. He also headed up the linebackers corps. And look at how successful they were. We also know he spent a lot of time under Vic Fangio. Is this going to be more of the style that he is going to run here, that cover 2 shell defense? Or is it going to be more of what Brian Flores has done, where it's a blitz heavy coming from all over the place, right? 2 totally different styles of defenses, but both very effective. Vic Fangio put out a master plan on Sunday. Is this something that Campanile is going to be able to implement, or are we not going to get anything, either or, with these 2? And the only reason why I say that is because I remember 3 years ago, sitting right here, talking about Mike Caldwell and how Todd Bowles, it felt like in Tampa, Todd Bowles' defense never showed the same defensive alignment play after play. They were absolutely moving. It was such a hybrid 4-3, 3-4 with exotic blitzes and different looks. The only thing I can think of that even remotely compares to that would be Belichick, Romeo Crennel, a lot of those great New England defenses, which Brian Flores, as we know, spent many years in New England. So I remember envisioning that Mike Caldwell was going to bring that here to Jacksonville, and he did not. He brought a very boring style of defense. Just wondering if you watched this Super Bowl 2 days ago, and when you were watching what Vic Fangio was able to do defensively, is that what you had in mind for the Jaguars this year? Or perhaps it didn't enter your mind at all. I don't know. It certainly did here. But anyway, just give you an opportunity to comment on that as well. All right, so your thoughts on that. Your thoughts on Deebo Samuel. I see him coming in. I expect him to come in. Number 5 for number 11 plus Deebo. You got to sign him. He won't show up on 1 year with voids. You got to sign him. And interesting. But let's kick into it a little bit. Also, let's bring in our good friend Destin Adams. He will join us as well, the very latest on the NFL draft as we go into the night right here on this Tuesday.
A new NASCAR season starts Sunday with the biggest race of them all.
And there's nobody that's better than Daytona.
The Daytona 500, brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234 on Jacksonville's NASCAR station, 1010XL.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror, fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Capsule, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. Smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at Dermagnify.com. Dermagnify.com.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scotty Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Denny Thompson here. You gotta check out Tyson's Showroom Home Theater with surround sound and comfy theater chairs. You can transform your living room into a cinematic experience. I can stay there to watch all my games. It's that comfortable. Call Tyson today and bring the theater experience home. Tyson Sound and Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming, Iowa.
Mike Dempsey here. Look, you know, it's been 10 years that I've been vouching for my guys at Dandy Boots, and for a decade, I'm proud of my association with a local family business. They make a great product. I've made no secret that I was a customer long before Dandy ever came on board on 1010XL. But I'm thinking I'm due a little Dandy swag, maybe a little love. How about a Dandy t-shirt, a ball cap? So how about it, Thompson family? What do you got going on over there? In the meantime, I'm going to keep eating those delicious tuna salad sandwiches. So guys, keep helping me out and grab a Dandy sandwich today.
February is Cancer Prevention Month, and Ackerman Cancer Center will help you take charge of your well-being. Their new location at World Golf Village off I-95 now provides screenings for prostate, bladder, and colorectal cancers. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
These days, we do everything from our phones. That's why JEA's app lets you manage your utility services anytime, anywhere. Whether you want to view your account, pay your bill, sign up for programs, or check the outage map, you can do it all right from the app, when and where it's convenient for you. Because we want to make doing business with us as quick and easy as possible. Download the free JEA app from the App Store today. JEA, your community, your utility.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
When the heat's on high or the chill is too much, who you gonna call? Cool Cats Heating and Cooling is locally owned and operated with a perfect touch. You'll keep your home just right, day or night. AC to heating, don't take a beating. Call the coolest cats in town. With a 5-star Google rating, they're your neighbors, ready to help. So get your paw of approval from Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town. CoolCatsJacks.com.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Budweiser reminds us to drink wiser, like hydrating between beers. It keeps the fun going longer, and it's a commitment to responsibility. Remember, good times are ahead, so no need to overdo it. Know when to say when, and always designate a driver.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, people are freaking out about this Deebo Samuel deal. No way. 29. Team not built to win right now. I get it. It fills a couple of voids. You can say goodbye officially to Christian Kirk, recoup that cash, and also get a corner, but I'm not doing it. What I'd love to do is go to the draft and for a second consecutive year, get a wide receiver. I know most of the focus is on defensive tackle and corner, but the way I feel around Trevor Lawrence, if you're going to win, you better do everything you can to support him and build up this offense. Let's bring in Destin Adams. He is with us quite a bit when it comes to covering the NFL draft. He was at the Senior Bowl, and he joins us right now, draft analyst for A to Z Sports NFL. Destin, always a pleasure. How you doing?
Doing good. I'm sure it's colder here in Indiana than it is there in Florida right now with you guys.
Yeah, you should be heading this way, right? I mean, big race fans in Indiana. I know it's the Brickyard, but you can come down here and go visit the Daytona 500.
Yeah, let me just run that by the wife and kids real quick. See if I can get a trip in February out to Florida for sure.
Yeah. Hey, I read your reports. It felt like once again in Mobile it was sensational. A lot of good prospects at this year's Senior Bowl.
Yeah, it was definitely a good week out there. I definitely think there were some more top-end talent than we've had in years past out in Mobile. Potentially a couple of guys who could have worked their way into that top 10 range for sure. So it'll be exciting to see how the process plays out. But a lot of talented guys there, especially in the trenches this year.
Mm-hmm. And Jacksonville needs to address that. I think a couple of times I am not big on anything they have going on right now with the interior offensive line. It feels like Mitch Morris will be there for one more year, but they need to address right guard. Tell us about Greg Zabel. We know he played tackle, but was working at guard and center in Mobile. What did you see out of this young man?
Yeah, very, very good week for the guy. I think what was the most impressive for him actually was his ability just to play all over the line. He showed it every single day in the fact that he would line up everywhere. We saw him line up at both guard spots. We saw him line up at both tackle spots. And he was dominant throughout the week. Anytime I think a small school guy can go out into these situations and battle with some Power 4 schools and some guys that are going to get drafted really early and show out like he did, it's a big win. And that's why just about any winners list that you kind of look at from that week, I mean, Zabel is on just about every single one of them because the fact that he was able to show out in one-on-one drills and in team drills and just show that he can kind of to hang with those kind of caliber players. I think it was a really good week for his stock in terms of telling the NFL players, the NFL teams, like I can be what I was in college at the next level.
You know, Destin, I have no knowledge of him or had no before the Senior Bowl. I have not watched any North Dakota State University football. One thing that this football team is lacking is nasty. Have you been able to uncover that either in the Senior Bowl or film that you've watched? Does he have some mean spirit in him?
Yeah, I mean, I think to be able to shine in one-on-one drills, and this is probably just about any position at this point, but offensive line, defensive line, if you're going to dominate all week long, I think you have to have a little bit of nasty to you just because it gets so chippy. And I think he responded well to those moments and was able to give some, even when he got some back. So I definitely think he showed the ability to allow the competitive nature to kind of come out in his game. And I think it kind of made him better throughout the week even. So definitely was really impressed with what he was able to show this past that week in Mobile.
Yeah, he's a guard, so he's not going to go as high as tackles. And even though he played that position in college, it feels like he's rising a little bit. I know there's still a lot of work to do for these prospects, but can you make the case that he won't be there at 36 for the Jaguars?
It's an interesting class. I mean, I from every person that I've talked to, and myself included, not a premium amount of first-round talent when you're talking about grades. I've heard some teams in the NFL have less than 10 first-round grades this year. So when you don't have first-round grades at the end of the first, I think that's when you can see some crazy things happen. I mean, like go back last year and you see Ricky Pearsall come off in the first round, another guy who had a really good week out in Mobile. And the reason that a lot of those kind of happen is these teams at the end of the first, they're like, well, we don't have first-round grades left on any of these guys anyway, so we're just going to go out and get a guy that we really like, no matter if people around the league or people following the draft are going to look at this and say, wow, that was a little bit of a reach, because they got the player they want to get that was not going to make it to them at their pick in the second round.
Wow.
So it'll be interesting to kind of see how the second half of this draft goes, because I think we could see a lot of players that people may not look at and say, well, yeah, that's a first-round talent being selected, just because I think these teams are going to go with their gut and take these players that they have really developed a liking for. So it'll be interesting to see. I've seen Zabel go into the first round in some mock drafts. Being a small school guy and some of the talent that there is at that guard position in this class, my guess right now is he would still fall into the second round, but it only takes one team, right?
Yeah. My goodness, only 10 first-round grades, man. What that says to me is we're going to see a ton of trades on draft day.
Yeah, I mean, definitely possible. I mean, I think trading back is going to be something teams are going to want to do. But, I mean, I guess it's a two sides of the coin here. Is the trade back, you're going to have find teams that want to trade up, right? And so it'll be interesting to see how many of those deals you can strike and how many players teams kind of circle that are warranting a trade up, at least in the first round. Where I think I could see some more trades in this class, honestly, is the day two area, because I think day two of this class is the absolute cream of the crop of this class. I think there's a real strong debate you can make that player 20 in this class to player 75, like there is a very minimal difference in this class. It's a very solid group of guys that I just don't feel like there's a very drastic difference in terms of my board and how they fall. And I've heard very similar things around the league to where day two, I think, could be a lot of fun and we could see a lot of movement because teams trying to go up and get guys that they're just not sure if other teams are as high on as they are. I'd be shocked if I saw a lot of first-round movement outside of if teams find a way to get into that top 10 to get any of those players that they just view as the best players in this class.
I love this. So what you're saying is a lot of starters in this year's draft. There's just not a lot of first-round grades, but as we know in this league, you can find quality football players. No question about it. All right, final thought from you, Destin Adams, our guest, NFL draft analyst, A to Z Sports, NFL. What do you think the Jags should do at 5?
Ooh, it's interesting. I mean, obviously the Jags are going to hope that, first of all, that both quarterbacks come off the board. More quarterbacks off the board, the more premium talent gets pushed down your way. I think for the Jags, I mean, obviously new coaching staff coming in, you could do a lot of different things. I think going best player available in those, or especially in this class, is probably the right way to go. I don't think you could go wrong taking either Michigan Wolverine at the top with a Will Johnson or a Mason Graham. I'm high on both of those players and think they both have the ability to be a foundational piece on a defense. And I think the Jags have a need at both of those spots. getting a difference maker on the interior of that defensive line, and Mason Graham, who I think could come in day one and be a difference maker and be someone that just moves the pile. I think Will Johnson is also – he's my number one corner in this class. I mean, Travis Hunter is probably going to come off the board in front of him because of his ability to play both sides. But to me, I think Will Johnson's a way more natural fit at corner at the second level. And I think he's going to be a guy that can really develop into a true number one corner at the pro level. And obviously the Jags, was Ramsey pick 5 as well?
Yes, I believe he was. I believe Jalen was number 5, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so I mean, so if you're running it back, get a corner. Maybe this one will last a little bit longer.
Are you telling us he's not going to fake a back injury and walk his way out of Duval? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think that would be Will Johnson's MO. I don't think that would be what he would go with. But I do think he is a very talented player. And I think both of those players would fit what the Jags need on the defensive side of the ball. Offense is the sexy positions, though, as you guys know, after a really good year out of your rookie receiver. So I'm sure there's going to be some people that want to go that side of the ball again.
Make sure you follow Destin Adams. Just go to the Destin Adams, NFL draft analyst for A to Z Sports NFL. Always a pleasure, Destin. I know we'll do it again real soon. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
There he goes. Well, interesting stuff there. Wow, it's the first I've heard of that. I've done a lot of reading. I know there hasn't. Who told us? Gosh, who was it who said it to us? I can't remember. That there were 5 or they always say, "Oh, it's a 5-player draft," and I'm always like, "Are you kidding me? You find starters in every round. You find starters all over the place." But 10 first-round grades. This is going to be Jacksonville's in a position where they're going to get one of the top players, obviously, at 5, but I love that. I love that you can find starters. It's a deep draft. It's just not a highly graded draft. Comment on that as well. All right, let's begin our second hour by getting you involved in the program. The Deebo Samuel piece we threw out there. Your thoughts on Vic Fangio? Did that come into play with the new defensive coordinator hired here? You just heard some thoughts on the NFL draft at number 5. Everything is good. The best way to do it. 641-1010, brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures as we kick off our number 2.
You're here because you know something. What do you know you can't explain? Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you want to know what it is?
1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Taylor Doll here. Get your mammogram on the Buddy Bus Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 2 at the showroom of Renewal by Anderson Beach in San Pablo. Reserve your spot by calling 904-202-2499. 904-202-2499.
Transform your bathroom with stunning shower glass from Sky Glass Solutions in Jacksonville Beach. For a free quote, call 904-608-5151 or visit skyglasssolutions.com.
If your ride is making strange noises, don't wait and make it worse. Come to Action Transmission on Merrill Road. My expert technicians can diagnose the problem and likely fix it fast. Experience the difference at Action Transmission on Merrill Road.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
You know, many plumbers won't quote prices over the phone and instead charge a service fee for an in-home estimate. Of course, because they know once they're in your home, you're probably not going to send them away. But Roland Reach Plumbing is different. Roland will give you a price quote over the phone. And there's never a trip charge or service fee for an estimate. So if you've got a leak and can't wait a week and don't like paying unnecessary fees, call on Roland Reach Plumbing at plumbingjacksonville.com.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here. Free for life. Just by saying that, you already know I'm referring to Awaken 180. They're the only company providing it. Fast, proven weight loss, and then keep it off thanks to free support for life. That's Awaken180weightloss.com.
This Black History Month profile is brought to you by McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center. McGowan's got your back. Derrick Henry, running back at Yulee High School, broke the national rushing record with over 12,000 yards in his 4-year varsity career with the Hornets. He then won the national championship and Heisman Trophy at Alabama, setting school records for the Crimson Tide. Henry was drafted in the second round by the Tennessee Titans and is currently crushing defenses with the Baltimore Ravens.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
Is your office productivity running at full speed? Advanced Business Solutions has the solution with Xerox copiers. Whether you need high volume printing, scanning, or secure document management, Xerox copiers deliver efficiency, quality, and innovation. With features like cloud integration and mobile printing, Xerox is perfect for any modern office. Let ABS help you streamline your workflow. Veteran-owned Advanced Business Solutions.
Advanced Business Solutions.
Where is the deepest canyon in the United States?
Filing an insurance claim following a storm shouldn't be an ordeal. Southern Oak Insurance's claim team prepares for catastrophic situations well in advance. Log on to southernoak.com.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The deepest canyon in the United States is Hell's Canyon along the Oregon and Idaho border, about 8,000 feet deep at some point.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Yo, E.T. here, and don't let Valentine's Day sneak up on you. Plan the perfect romantic getaway in Clay County. Stay at one of Clay's beautiful Airbnbs or in luxury at Club Continental, a boutique riverfront retreat, and treat your special someone to an unforgettable dinner at the Hilltop Restaurant. Trust me on this one. Clay County is the perfect spot for romance. Start planning today at exploreclay.com and tag those romantic moments with hashtag ExploreClay.
North Florida is growing with lots of new families joining our community. If you're one of them making the move here, your next move should be a call to American Electrical to create the best home automation system, enhancing your living experience. There are many ways your life can be made easier through smart home technology, voice-activated systems, automated lighting, total house temperature control. With American Electrical, they've got everything you need to automate your home and make it your true oasis. Check out American-Electrical.com. Powered by professionalism and raising the excellence bar.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, Mike Garafolo with a report. The Jaguars are interviewing James Madison, offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Dean Kennedy. That would be for a position on the staff. He's 33 years of age, an up-and-coming offensive coach. Offense was 26th in scoring last year, hung 55 of the 70 points scored on UNC. I guess the other 15 came defensively or special teams. I would have to assume. You know, it feels like with this young staff, it's going to be interesting to see how the egos are putting all these guys together. They're all going to have major responsibilities, but I would still like to see an ex-head coach. I think that is something that is incredibly important for so many different issues, not necessarily in-game issues, but again, I just think that Liam Cohen in a year, so many things are going to pop up that he doesn't expect, and it'd be good to have an ex-NFL coach with you. But bringing in young minds like this makes a lot of sense to me, considering what they've already done. And, you know, I don't know what type of positions. Let me grab the staff here real quick. I mean, I guess you can make him an assistant head coach. Let's see here. You have an offensive coordinator in Udinski. You have a passing game coordinator in Shane Waldron, the most criticized of the hires, right? Fired in Seattle a few years ago, fired as the Chicago Bears offensive coordinator after 9 games this past year. The relationship with the Whipple family, going back to the University of Massachusetts, Spencer Whipple, and is the quarterback's coach. But I don't see any reason why you can't add a rushing game coordinator or whatever. I mean, assistant quarterbacks coach here? They have an assistant wide receivers coach. They do not have an assistant quarterbacks coach. The former staff did. So, I mean, you can create a position. That's not a problem. And I'll tell you what, when you have all these young minds working, I am absolutely under the belief that the more is the better. Because I think the focus here is, again, for these coaches who, let's face it, it's pretty obscure, most of these names. Weren't really overly familiar with most of these names, that they're going to be working extra hard to try to improve themselves and get better opportunities. And frankly, that's the way it should be. All right, let's grab some response to this, man. There's a ton going on. 52-62, boy, I'd rather go for T. Higgins. Absolutely. You think Cincinnati's really going to let him leave? I mean, T. Higgins would give Trevor Lawrence that bona fide big body. Of course, they worked together in college. But that's something that we've always talked about with Trevor. Give him a legitimate big body wide receiver. He's going to break the bank. I mean, do you want to pay T. Higgins? Is he going to command the most amount of money of any wide receiver? Probably not. Some of those recent deals will still be a tad bit higher, but that's the way the market is. I mean, wait till you see the Brock Purdy deal that gets announced. That when you sign, it's the latest, right? It's the latest who signs is going to end up getting the blockbuster deal. I would absolutely love T. Higgins. I think that would be spectacular. But again, you got to ask yourself, how much is it going to cost? What's the guaranteed money? How many years can you bring him in? T. Higgins today, I was reading, said he'd love to stay in Cincinnati. He said it's out of his hands. 0882. Deebo of 3 years ago, yes. Today's Deebo, nope. Yeah, I tried to sell this and see if we could get some positivity with this proposal with Deebo Samuel. If you're joining us for the first time, Pro Football Focus said number 5, number 11. The switch there between Jacksonville and San Francisco. Jacksonville against Deebo Samuel. It's so much more than that, though. He's in the final year of his deal. He does have voidable years left. I don't know how those voidable years all come into play if there's a trade, if there's dead money. I'm not a salary cap specialist. I don't know the exact way that works, but you are smart enough to know that if you were to make a deal for Deebo Samuel, you're also going to have to turn around and re-sign him. And at the age of 29, I just think it's way too risky. 31-44, yeah, let's get Deebo. So he can whine and cry. Yeah, he does. He's got a little bit of that diva in him. 31. Here's another one. Deebo is well, I'm not going to say that word out loud. Choking your team out, man. They should have stopped Deebo's. Yada yada. Why would you want to bring that man to your team? I'd love to, listen, don't get me wrong. I'm coming up with reasons why not to bring him here. He's also a dog, okay? We just talked about it with Gray Zabel. One thing that is clearly missing with this football team is tough guys, right? This is a soft football team. And you need some guys that are going to scare you if you're walking down an alley, right? There's none of that in this organization. I kind of want to believe that Jarian Jones is going to be that way, right? The offensive line is almost a punchline. I do want to believe that Anton Harrison has got some nasty, okay? But you just need more and more and more of it. Deebo Samuel, despite some of those shenanigans and, a reputation as being a diva and a prima donna, he gets it on Sunday. And I like that part of him. 0832 below. Are they hiring an assistant to be assistant region? Very good. 5602. We trade back 5 to 18 to Seattle Exchange for DK Metcalf. 18. All right, now we're going all over the place here. Now, DK Metcalf, again, is another one that I think would be just incredible. But again, are you going to what are you going to be able to get out of these players who are a little bit older? How old's Metcalf now? He's out of Mississippi. What's he been in the league?
26 or 27.
Yeah, 26, 27. So he's 2 or 3 years younger. First of all, I think he's a better pure receiver than Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel does a lot of different things for you.
He just turned 27.
Okay. Here's a good one. 0148. Rather just pick Restrepo in round 3 than sign Samuel. What's there not to like with Restrepo? But come on, he's got to be a slot wide receiver, right? I mean, there's a guy you're not going to put on the edge. In the NFL, he's got to be a slot-only wide receiver because of the size, I would think. And obviously, great hands. He's got tremendous body of work at the University of Miami. I would think a little bit higher than Restrepo. But if that's where they went, I would be okay with it. What I believe this team needs is another outside man who can stretch defenses, and hopefully with some height. Restrepo can run, but he doesn't have the height. And again, I believe he is a slot receiver at the next level. Cooper Kupp, I think his better days are behind him. Someone just asked me about Cooper Kupp. I would say that is not the way to go, in my opinion.
And the Rams there's probably not going to be anybody that's going to want to trade for him, so they'll probably end up cutting him.
Yeah. See, when you mention guys like Metcalf and you mention guys like Cooper Kupp, I'm taking these questions without pulling up their future contracts, and in both cases, they have to be mighty. I don't think there's any doubt about that. 48-33, Blue, the problem with that is you're bringing Deebo in to be our second wide receiver on the depth chart. He wants to get paid. He wants to be a star. Playing second banana to BTJ sounds like a recipe for disaster. It's a good point. It really is a good point. Now, there's a way around that. He could not sign. And he could hold out. Who's the guy who did that in New York? Was it Hassan Reddick? Remember the trade happened?
Yeah, with the Jets.
And he went to New York, and they just assumed, okay, we'll get a deal done with Hassan, and he'll be in New York for the next, 4 years. And he said, no. He looked at the resume and saw that at that point it had been 13 years since the Jets had gone to the playoffs, and he said, that's not going to happen for me. And he worked his way out. That is a fair point. Regardless of who it is, whether it's T. Higgins or Deebo Samuel or anyone else, you are going to be the number 2 wide receiver. Brian Thomas Jr. is the best player on this team. And I think he's only going to get better in this Liam Cohen offense. I really believe that. That's a good point by the 48-33. Let's go on to YouTube here. Gilbert says trading for Deebo would be a joke. Sean says not a chance. Mike says draft the gigantic, one of the Chads to put in the trenches. After watching what Philadelphia did, it's almost impossible to argue with that point. The problem is you can only do so much when you're talking about quote unquote difference makers. Everyone talks about Graham and putting him in the middle. Man, after seeing what Philly did, I have always been a huge offensive line guy. And I think that is the identity of any football team, your offensive line. It's also crystal clear that if you're really going to win in this league, you need to be incredibly stout on the defensive line as well. Jaguars are set at edge, albeit we don't know what defensive scheme they are going to run. All right, Campanile talked a little bit about it like a week ago. He said he's aware of the scheme, but he didn't say it. He's like, yeah, I know what scheme we're going to run. So, but I mean, and that's fine. I mean, he didn't have to tell us, in early February what type of defensive scheme. And honestly, maybe that changes based on, free agency in the draft. But being so stout in the middle is so incredibly important. Again, Philadelphia won that game by rushing 4. And look at what they had as far as their rotation. They, when we got it, I'll never forget asking Doug Peterson in that first preseason game. I was the one that I think came up with the hockey shift. Hockey's my favorite sport. It was their first third down, and 5 guys ran on the field. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I've never seen anything like this in my life. I mean, we see changes when you take out a backer and go to nickel, or maybe you go to dime, but the changes that they made. And at that point, I didn't know any better. I'm thinking, boy, Ryan Nielsen, this guy's a genius. Look at what he's doing. It ended up backfiring completely on him. And apparently he was too stubborn. It created quite a few issues. But yeah, no doubt, Mike, getting a mutter in the middle is better. Mike goes on to say the dirtier they play, the better. To some extent, I'm with you there. I am absolutely with you there. I want a couple of dirty guys. I don't want someone breaking someone's leg in the huddle. Okay? But I want them playing to the echo of the whistle. I want them responding when they concuss Trevor Lawrence to the point where you get your name in the newspaper, right? I mean, you make a name for yourself. You don't have Doug Peterson saying, I got to talk to Jarian Jones now. He's going to get fined. Maybe. I mean, come on. I don't ever want to have to mention that again. And I know every time I do, there's some of you out there say, oh, they did what they had to do. They defended him. No, they did not. In my opinion, they did not. No way. What do you think that Philly? Let's go right to the best. What do you think that Philly offensive and defensive line would have done if they concussed Jalen Hurts? I mean, just ask yourself that. So dirty, mean, nasty. This team needs some of that. They do. And right now you just don't have it. I mean, you got a lot of really good character people. And when's the last time a Jaguar got in trouble? It's a good thing, right? It's good for the city. It's good for the community. You got a bunch of high character football players. I think you need a few guys in there that are not necessarily that way. My opinion. I've always felt that way. This isn't a church league here. This isn't Pop Warner football. We're talking about the NFL. They will let you play. You can do anything in the world, and this league will let you play if you're good enough. We got much more to do with you tonight till 8.
From sunup to sundown.
When the sun goes down.
Nobody covers the Jaguars like 1010XL.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598. 5598.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out. You need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they'll show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. That's right, Terminix it.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Visit Monahan Jewelers now through Valentine's Day for savings on all GIA certified diamonds and discounts store-wide up to 40% off. And interest-free financing on all purchases. Certified diamonds, gemstones, engagement rings, diamond studs, designer brands. Monahan's has it all. We're not a chain store. We're your local family jeweler since 1977 with a world-class inventory of fine jewelry and diamonds and gemstones available in any size. Support your local family jeweler now through Valentine's with huge savings in our inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Crosser here, still telling you about Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Lifetime Enclosures is keeping the sale going into February. Enclosures starting at only $89 a month, and if you get a complete enclosure done, you get free flooring. If you just need flooring, Lifetime Flooring is running a buy one room, get the second room free. Now offering floor coating for that garage or patio deck too. Give them a call or visit their showrooms just off Phillips Highway. Proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, what's the matter?
I don't know about this air conditioner, Jason.
You know, my job is actually to...
I mean, 1 minute it's working, and the next minute it's not working. And every time I leave the house, I don't know if I'm coming back to a nice, cool oasis or a steaming cesspool of sweaty garbage fumes and dog farts, and then I'll never get to sleep. And I'll be too late to call someone. And what if I've got a big meeting the next morning and I haven't slept a wink?
Okay, dude. Stay cool. Or at least stay cooler.
But
Bueller Air and Plumbing can figure out why your AC only works sometimes and not all the time. We fix that kind of stuff every day.
You mean you can...
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend all your time worrying about an air conditioner that can totally be fixed, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror? Fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. Smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at Dermagnify.com. Dermagnify.com.
Hey folks, Nick here for Zero Res, and if you still have a little bit of time for the hottest price of the year on carpet cleaning, maybe you had people over for the game or you're doing early spring cleaning, but in February, only $147 for 3 rooms, plus the 4th room is free. That's right, schedule now and you'll get 3 rooms for $147, and the 4th room is free. Yeah, the 4th room is on me. Hottest price of the year. Zero Res. Spell it forward, spell it backwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean.
CEROREZ. Zero Res.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Guys, Valentine's Day is coming. Don't run out of time. Jacksonville Flower Market on Beach and Southside has fresh, beautiful flowers she'll love. Mention radio to get 10% off. They'll even customize the bouquet so it's unique to her. Jacksonville Flower Market on Beach and Southside.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Into the Night with Rick Ballou on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Place your bets. Place your bets. How about the Philly Godfather coming on Thursday? Had Philly plus a half point the first half. Cha-ching. Then he played a 7-point teaser. Had Philly getting 8.5. Had the over 41.5. So he wraps up the season by winning both of those bets. Right now, the Jaguars plus 8,000 to win the Super Bowl a year from now. Lay down $100, you win $8K. If you feel that is going to happen. Luis says, Rick the Snake. What did I do that was snake-like on the program? Do we know? Should we ask? Do you have any idea what I said?
I have no idea. Maybe something about FSU, but I don't think that was a snake vibe.
Snake. Snakes are sneaky. They come from behind. You step on them, they bite you. I was full out with my attack. I was the king of the jungle. I was the lion with those comments. His CRS 092 missed you yesterday, Rick. Thought you got fired, LOL. Well, I appreciate you being concerned, but you drop an LOL on there, man. Like, it's no big deal if I was out of work. I was sick as a dog. Man. Let's have some fun. What do you think? What do you got for us on the other side? Dylan Denmark is just on top of things when it comes to giving stuff away. What do you have?
I got a $25 gift card to Flowers of Jacksonville as part of our 1010XL Valentine's Day gift guide. Visit 1010XL.com for more great gift ideas.
What a sensational gift. Flowers.
Yeah, Valentine's Day is Friday, by the way, people.
Mm-hmm. I saw this over the weekend, and it just absolutely blew me away. So this is going to be our trivia question. Tony Gwynn, in his 20-year career, Hall of Famer, the late Tony Gwynn, he only struck out 434 times in his career. Do you realize when he played guard at San Diego State, he had 590 assists? He actually had more assists in college basketball in 4 years than he did strikeouts in Major League Baseball in 20 years. That gets us to today's question. Who struck out Tony Gwynn the most in their Major League Baseball career? I will give you a massive hint. He is a Hall of Famer. You get to talk to Dylan Denmark, 641-1010. Who struck out Tony Gwynn? And the answer is 9, by the way. Nowadays, there are hitters that'll strike out 9 times in like a 3 or 4 game series. But this happened over the length of his career. If you can tell us who that is, we will set you up with that fantastic prize. 0620, no to Deebo. T-Mac is 5 is better on the rookie deal. I would love it if they got T-Mac. I just can't see him going back to the well in the first round with a wide receiver. This kid out of Arizona looks like he is going to be, just a fantastic football player. I'm in agreement with you, but I just can't see it happening. Rick, 4010, you're talking about Philly and the dog mentality. Jalen Carter's on a defense, an absolute game wrecker. Right, and also a guy with a big-time attitude, right? And I'd like to have some of that on the Jaguars' defensive side. I'd like to have some of that as well on that offensive line, right? I still don't know if you're going to be able to get that. It's like Mitch Morse and Brandon Sheriff are like consummate professionals, right? You know, you can call them lunch pail guys. You know, Cleveland as well. But Cleveland's got the smallest calves I've ever seen for an offensive lineman. I want to believe Anton Harrison. I don't believe Walker Little is that way. You don't need all 5 of them to be that way. But, I mean, get a couple. You know, I felt like maybe Cooper Hodges would be that way, but you can't trust him, man. He's played 2 years and he's been hurt. This team has not done a good job drafting offensive linemen deeper in the draft, right? Second-round picks, Cam Robinson, Jawan Taylor, I think we're both average. Walker Little, you're waiting for his best. First-round pick Anton Harrison, you're waiting for his best. But when you get deeper into the draft where you can find so many great offensive linemen, look at what this organization has done lately. You know, who's the best that they have selected? And there hasn't been a lot of them. As a matter of fact, I think of Ben Barch, I think of Luke Fortner, and I think of Cooper Hodges. They had the draft pick late last year. Javon Foster. Not a lot. You know, that was Trent Baalke's world. That was Dave Caldwell's world. That world needs to change. You have 10 draft, without even blinking, you have 10 draft picks? I'm taking a minimum 3 offensive linemen. Just my way of looking at it. We have a winner.
Mr. Brett got the winner.
Mr. who?
Mr. Brett.
Mr. Brett, congratulations.
Like Brett Favre.
That's not Brett Favre, that's Lord
Favre. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. 6188, I agree with you. But hold on. The answer, that would have been so rude of me. Would have had to make all you people hop on the Google. Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying Greg Maddux.
Yeah. Those are some duels. It's amazing what'll pop up that's viral now on Reels or whatever it is when I'm just kind of cruising through social media, and they'll show some battles between Greg Maddux and – because Greg Maddox's numbers are like off the chart too, like starting hitters 2-0 or 3-0. I can't remember which one it was. If he didn't intentionally walk someone, his percentage of like starting a hitter off 3-0 was like almost 0. 61-8, I got to agree with you, Blue. I want the offensive line full of Trent Williamses and Larry Allens. They're hard to find. You can be a total class act off the field, but have a mean streak on it. Look at Tony Baselli. Tony Baselli is one of the nicest individuals you'll ever meet. When it came to 60 Minutes on Sunday, that was a totally different individual. Leon Searcy, same deal. Now, I'm talking about the 2 best tackles that have ever played in franchise history, one of them a Hall of Famer. I don't want you to misconstrue what I'm saying here. I don't need these guys to get arrested and, you know, all of that. Although if it happened, you know, pay the penance and move on. I think there's been a little bit too much that this organization has done about drafting the right character guy. Yeah, you always want to bring in people who represent your product in the right way. But you also need some nasty. Man, I can't express it enough. A lot of the folks with the nasty, man, they're winners. I don't need to start throwing out names. You know them. If not, go Google. Go look up some of the great players at any position. And so many of them had issues. They're human beings. You know, between free agents and the draft, I mean, this has been, you got to put Jacksonville up there. It's like the cleanest organization in the NFL, right? No problems. When's the last time there was a problem around here? Zay Jones? There's no problems with this organization. But they're also not winning. Uh, 0832. Yeah, that's more about that. Yeah, that was good. I did laugh. Been laughing a lot. 53. When you laugh, there's no problems, right? I don't care if it lasts for 2 seconds or for 2 minutes. When you laugh, there's no issues. What's that?
I was about to say, Shad Khan said you're either laughing or you're dying, but no, you're either living or you're dying. That's what he said at the press conference when Liam Cohen got introduced.
Yeah. High character, guys. High character. We want guys on this team who will walk old ladies across the road. And in their spare time, they're taking walks down the beach with their puppy and their bride-to-be. Yeah. I don't know. You track some of the greatest people who ever played this game. Talking about real dogs. Many of them had issues. Who's the greatest defensive player to ever play in the NFL?
Lawrence Taylor.
Okay.
Not even a...
Do you want him walking an old lady across the road? Back in his day? Mm-mm.
Yeah,
be
a no.
Do you want him on your defense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, that's Lawrence Taylor. That's the greatest that we ever saw.
Talk about a guy that was, pre-social media. How many games did he ever play sober?
You know, I've heard conflicting stuff about that. I don't know, if he took a few nips. I think he was more substance than it was actual alcohol. Be tough to play with alcohol in the NFL. Baseball, not so much.
You ever hear the story that he was driving by the stadium the morning of a game, and then he realized that he had a game when he drove by the stadium? He was like, oh, I have a game actually in a couple hours, and then he turned right into the stadium. I don't know how much of that I believe, but...
No. And, think of the massive disciplinarians that were on that team. Okay? Harry Carson, Pepper Johnson, Jim Burt, not to mention Tom Coughlin, Bill Belichick, and Bill Parcells. Every once in a while, when you got a guy that is that special, what did Bobby Bowden say? We have rules and we have international rules. When Sebastian Janikowski was out drinking booze till like 3 a.m. and, they said, are you going to penalize them? And he said, no, we have rules and we have international rules. Bobby's like, this playing for a national title.
Yeah, or Belichick says you coach everybody the same, differently. I think he said that. I know one of the famous coaches said that. Might or not been Belichick, but they did say that, which is true, man. Not everybody's treated the same. The more better you are at your job, the more you get away with. That's with anything.
Here it is right here, 52-62. Stealing it from me, but putting it back in my face, and I appreciate it. Embrace the villain. I made a huge deal about that recently. I love it. I love it. And again, I'm not talking about going and knocking off a convenience store here, okay? But I'm talking about a little bit of an attitude. A little bit of, hey, I'm the boss. And, I've yelled forever about the offensive line and how I want the wall of Duval and how I want that to be the identity of this football team. And it's never happened. And it feels like it's absolutely not going to happen this year because 4/5 of that offensive line is set. But you as fans, man, this villain side, I would be just reeking in that, especially during the offseason where you don't have to measure it with wins or losses. But I would love for Jacksonville to have a little bit of that. And I don't think it's going to represent the organization poorly, right? The Blues Brothers, the Bears, they took on an identity. The Raiders, man, the Raiders of the 70s, can you imagine what that must have been like? Those were legitimately some bad guys. I used to love to hear from Pete Banaszak, who was the original, post-game analyst on the Jaguars radio network. The last time I saw Pete was in St. Augustine, probably been a year and a half, 2 years ago now, when I spoke to a group, and I guess he was moving to, I want to say he was moving to Atlanta, someplace in Georgia, but Pete was, there's certain guys that you bump into where you just shut up and you let them talk and you just listen and listen and listen. Pete Banaszak was one of those guys. And when he would get rolling talking about those old days about the Oakland Raiders, I mean, that stuff to me is, there's nothing better in life than listening to those type of stories. And, you can't do that stuff anymore with social media. You just can't. It's different, and we get it. But I'm hoping that whoever the general manager is, that character is still very important, but maybe you've got to take a chance. Not with everyone that you draft, not with everyone that you bring, but maybe take a chance on a guy that you think is going to be a good football player, but the guy next to him grades around the same, but is a very high character guy. Kind of tired of the nice guy, right? Yeah. It's time to embrace the villain.
The commander had me continue transmission.
Do you have the sequence yet?
The sequence is
1010XL.
Okay, go now.
92.5 FM.
Ballou here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
The county just requested more electric charging stations.
Orders have really amped up at Able Electric.
We need 3 more at First in Maine, and we just got another hotel chain.
It's no shock. Able Electric needs able electricians.
Grocery store wants charging stations, too.
And fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Don't miss the Players Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scotty Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
If you need a good idea for a great Valentine's gift, try 1010XL's Sweetheart Suggestions from
Kuhn Flowers and Wick, a candle bar.
Happy Valentine's Day. Find everything you need to know at 1010XL.com.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Look, it's kind of cooling down right now. I love opening my windows up this time of year. If you're looking to upgrade your windows in your home, I want you to visit the Pella showroom on Phillips Highway. Ask about their latest hurricane and impact-resistant windows and doors, rated #1 by Consumer Reports in all 3 main window categories. You want quality, style, and protection? Visit PellaJacks.com and the showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows. That's Pella Windows and Doors online at PellaJacks.com.
Pickett here with my concierge doctor, Richard Townsend. Doc T, how does a concierge direct primary care operate?
We are a membership-based primary care made directly between a patient and physician. We'll have a limited amount of patients that allows us to give unlimited access and personal service to you. This individualized approach has been shown to lower hospitalizations as well as maintain healthier lives. We also give 24/7 access via phone to me outside of our scheduled office hours.
To learn more, go to mypvconcierge.com.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for the Blue Crab Crab House. February means the Mardi Gras menu returns to the Blue Crab Crab House. Gumbo, shrimp Orleans, blackened redfish, appetizers, dessert, and more. This includes, of course, their regular menu where you get Crabs from the Alaskan waters, the Canadian waters, the Southern Georgia waters. It's only at the Blue Crab Crab House. Doors open at 4:30. San Jose and, of course, Julington Creek Road.
Hi, I'm Susan Peters, CEO and founder of Possibilities Plus. Thanks to the players for supporting our mission to enhance the lives of teens and adults with different abilities. It's 28 days until the players.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. No matter the weather, Triumph has an unbelievable selection of rides where you can get out and just enjoy the highway.
They do. The new Rocket is out, the new color schemes, the Tiger 1200, which has been revamped. These bikes are nice, gorgeous, and ready to ride.
And if you want to take a look at the selection, they can just roll into the showroom and see a full variety.
We've got them all in stock and ready to go.
So if you log on, cyclesofjacksonville.com, search the Triumph line, and then head into showroom, you'll be impressed. Cycles of Jacksonville.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, busy day for the Jaguars. 3 have been announced. General manager candidates, Josh Williams today interviewing the director of scouting and football operations for the San Francisco 49ers. What's interesting there is he was originally brought in by Trent Baalke to San Francisco. Ian Cunningham expected to interview on Friday, the Bears assistant general manager. A lot of people have believed that he has been connected to Liam Cohen. Albert Breer had that report a little bit earlier today. One other that we do know about this week will be Terrence Gray. He is the Bills director of player personnel. He has spent the last 8 years in Buffalo, spent, I think it was 15 years in Minnesota as a scout, and he was also a finalist for the Titans general manager job. That was announced a couple of weeks ago. 3:44 to go first half, or are they at half now? I have it 26-22 Florida over Mississippi State with 3:44 to go in the first half. But I'm looking up at it, and it looks like they're performing their halftime.
No, they got
report.
4 minutes left.
Okay, it says coming up halftime report. Yeah. So that is a good folks at ESPN. Anyway, do appreciate that. Here, 0924, according to the coach, we're not into according to the owner, VP, and coach, we're not in a rebuild. Listen, things can change real quickly in this league. I mean, this is the same owner who said it was the most predictable offense and defense. If they come in and really coach up these players, yeah, there's a chance. It was terrible coaching last year, offensively and defensively. That's why I really began the show talking about Anthony Campanile and watching what Vic Fangio did. Can Campanile take that from him? He's worked under him before. Right now, Jacksonville doesn't have the personnel that Philly has. Philly's incredible in every phase of their defense. Jacksonville is not. They got some players there. But you're going to have to fortify that coming up in free agency and the draft. And they are going to have the ability to get a a couple of good players. There's absolutely no question about that. They are going to be able to do that, as early as free agency. Today's the 11th. Free agency is crying out loud, man. It's 4 weeks away. It is here whether you are ready for it or not. All right, also today, Kellen Moore to the Saints. That was expected. Aaron Rodgers, the leader in the clubhouse, is the Pittsburgh Steelers, where apparently they're going to move on from Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. It appears that Aaron Rodgers is not going to return to the New York Jets. And in our final seconds here, I can't believe I didn't mention this earlier, but over the weekend, the passing of Dick Jauron, 74 years of age, Jacksonville's first defensive coordinator, one of the best sound bites in Jaguars history. I remember I was not on air, but I was down underneath in the bowels when Dick Jauron came in to talk about the draft of Donovan Darius, and he said he would bring a lot of violence to the football field. It was one of the greatest sound bites in Jaguars history. Dick Jauron, a really good player and a really good defensive coordinator. Of course, he also went on to coach the Chicago Bears, and I was in Chicago the years that Dick Jauron was the head coach of the Bears, and then, of course, he went on to coach the Buffalo Bills as well. But he developed a brain tumor, brain cancer. I lost my mom the same way, and Dick Jauron passed over the weekend at the age of 74.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
We got a barn burner to go. 3 minutes, first half. Gators, Mississippi State locked at 27 apiece.
Yeah, the big story is Alex Condon getting hurt in the first 30 seconds. It didn't look great. Didn't put a lot of weight on his ankle walking off the court. It wasn't a situation like hand-locked in last year in the tournament where they had to get a wheelchair out there. But it certainly didn't look good. And now the conversation is, and it's a weird conversation, Micah Hanlockton's been medically cleared. And their thought was he was going to redshirt this year to save a year of eligibility. Well, if Condon's out for an extended period of time, what is the Micah Hanlockton conversation like to be the fourth big for a team that could win the national championship?
My days of redshirting are over. With the NIL, with the transfer portal, anything you can get out of them, this team's got an opportunity, especially after that win against Auburn. They got an opportunity to go on a run. I'm playing them this year. How about you?
Well, Todd Golden said a week ago that it was Micah's decision, and that at that time a week ago, it looked like Micah Hanlockton was not going to drop the red shirt, was going to start fresh next year. And now with the Condon injury, and again, who knows? But it did not look great. The one thing, though, Rick, after tonight, Florida does not play a ranked team again until March 1st. So if it's a 2-week injury or a 3-week injury, it's not great, but it's okay. Longer than 3 weeks, I think you have to have a real conversation with Micah Hanlockton and say, hey, man, team, I need you at this point. What are we going to do?
Yeah, I mean,
for a team that's ranked third in America and a team that could make a national championship run.
Got a chance.
Yeah.
I mean.
It puts Hanlockton in a tough spot, though.
It does put him in a tough spot, but I'd do it. But it's easy for me to sit here and say that I would do it. Maybe he's got plans that are different. We'll see. Now 30-27, Mississippi State up, $1:20 to go in the first half. What do you got coming up tonight?
Yeah, we'll talk Gator basketball. Obviously, we'll see how this game unfolds with the injury to Alex Condon earlier, and obviously the Jaguar GM search is underway. I'll tell you this, I know you and I talked about this briefly last week. Ethan Waugh, if you read the tea leaves from the messaging that's coming out there from the people in the know, it's like they're throwing a little bait in the water for Jaguar fans. So we're getting preparing for potentially Ethan Waugh. And I just wonder how Jaguar fans will react to that if he's ultimately the guy. I don't think it's fair to Ethan that he has the Trent Baalke stench attached to him. But in the fan base's eyes, he does. And that could be really interesting if he's named the general manager.
Yeah, it's unfair, but he won't care because he'll put all his focus on making this football team better. I would not go that way just to completely eliminate anything that involves Trent Baalke. And Josh Williams, the first candidate to interview today, the director of scouting and football operations in San Francisco was actually hired by Trent Baalke.
Yeah.
So that is fascinating in itself. I wouldn't go down that road, but it's the Jaguars we're talking about. You never really know.
I wouldn't go down that road either, but listen to some of the interviews by some of the people that probably have an inkling as to what's going on. A lot of high praise for Ethan Waugh. So I'm connecting the dots on that.
All right. So you got that coming up tonight. What else?
Yeah, we're going to talk to John Shipley, Jaguars on SI. The head coach, Dave Campo, will join me as well. We got a lot to do with you till 10 o'clock.
Have a lot out Hacker Nation.
Thanks, Rick. Glad you're feeling better, man.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, man. Yesterday was awful, and I appreciate all of the glad you feel better support out there. We're going to get through this together. The immune system, man. It's gone for a lot of us. I won't rant about it any further, but look out, people. It's scary out there. I don't think there's any doubt. That's going to do it. Thank you to Destin Adams for joining us, talking some NFL draft. Thank you to Dylan Denmark for producing it. Tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, we'll do it once again. My name is Rick Ballou. We call this Into the Night on your home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.